My Fräulein from Frankfurt came down the Rhine. Her jaws were overflowing with cheap beer and wine. I said, du bisschen, du bisschen, du bisschen. I said, du bisschen, du bisschen, du bisschen. And we drank, 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 drank until we're sick.
Ho, ho, ho! This is Santa Spec Ops 56 coming to you from the North Pole. Well, actually, coming to you from my office desk for beer review number 6. This one is our Christmas special. And it's going to be really special because we're going to be reviewing 4 beers in a row. All special seasonal Christmas beers. The first one that we're going to be reviewing today is this one. This is the Shiner Holiday Cheer. This 'tis the season for cheer, it says on the bottle. It also says this is an ale brewed with peaches and pecans and with natural flavor and caramel color. This is a Dunkelweizen, which is a dark wheat ale, I do believe, and it is brewed by the Shiner Brewing Company in Shiner, Texas. And it's 5.4% by volume. Peaches and pecans. That should be an interesting flavor combination in a beer. Now I'll go ahead and pour it and let you take a look at the color and all the beer goodness. Alright, this is definitely a dark ale. It's a dark brown. Don't know if you can see it or not, but with the flashlight here, I can see a steady stream of bubbles coming up from the bottom. It's a very active carbonation. I hope you can see this well enough to get an idea of the color. Alright, John, come on around, my trusty head elf. Alright, yeah, let's have a smell here. The head didn't last very long, but it does have some lacing, and it was a tan. I smell a little bit of fruitiness, but nothing specific.
I smell peaches.
You smell peaches?
I smell the peaches.
Maybe it's just because my nose is partly stopped up today.
But it sure smells good.
Well, let's give it a taste.
All right.
Oh yeah, I can definitely taste the fruitiness in it.
I can too.
It's a sweet fruitiness right at the front. Almost no bitterness
Yeah.
Um,
That must
what,
be the pecan at the end.
what little bitterness there is at the end.
It's got a good flavor.
Mm-hmm. I can't say that it tastes like peach to me, but it definitely tastes like fruit.
Yeah.
Definitely a fruit flavor. And I can't specifically taste the pecan as pecan, but it does at the end have this taste that it isn't a hop taste, but it is a different taste and just a very little bit of bitterness right at the very end. So what do you?
I agree. It's smooth. I like it. It's got the sweet taste to it. And like you said, right there at the end, it has that little slight bitter.
I wouldn't say it was an overwhelming sweetness at the beginning, more of a medium sweetness. It's a very complex flavor as far as the sweet part of the flavor goes. The more it's in my mouth, the more I drink, the more it starts to taste like peach.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like biting into a fresh peach, but it has a peach tone to it. It is a drinkable beer, but it's one of those beers that I probably would only want at this time of the year. Not something I'd want to drink regularly, which is probably why they only make it during this time of the year.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. So I'll give this one a thumbs up.
I'll also. I like it.
So this one gets 2 thumbs up as a seasonal Christmas beer, but not as an everyday drinker. Well, that takes care of the Shiner Holiday Cheer. And we're going to finish off our cheer, clean our palates, and we'll be right back for beer number 2. Welcome back. It's time for the second beer of our Christmas special 4-in-1 beer review. This one is the Leinenkugel's Snowdrift Vanilla Porter. I think this is going to be a good one. This has been brewed by the Jacob Leinenkugel Brewery in Wisconsin since 1867. So they've been brewing beer for a long time, so I would imagine that they've got it right. Not really anything on the bottle to read off other than that. And it has 6% alcohol by volume. And let's get right to the pouring. Oh yeah, nice and dark. Ah, shortchanged you again there, John. So, has a good head. There we go. Yeah, that's close enough. And it is definitely dark. Real dark brown. See if we can get it from the bottom here. Yeah, that's definitely dark, as you can't really see a whole lot in this. I can see bubbles coming up from the bottom, but it's not a whole lot. They're not coming up real fast and aggressively, just very slow carbonation. So it looks like it is probably just mildly carbonated. As you can see, the head is a light tan, which most of these type of beers are. John's is lasting a bit longer than mine, but let's get to the tasting now. Number one elf. There you go. Let's have a smell.
I can't tell.
I'm smelling the malts.
That must be what I'm
It's
smelling.
a sweet malt smell that I'm smelling. I can smell, I'm not sure if it's the coffee notes or the vanilla notes that I'm smelling. They just be combined. Yeah, that's kind of, I think that's kind of what it is that I'm smelling. It's sort of like one of those vanilla flavored coffees that you can get. Well, let's have a taste. Oh yeah, I got toasty malts.
Yeah,
With definite coffee flavor.
definitely.
Slight hint of cocoa. It's only mildly carbonated. Slight bitterness at the end.
I agree.
Not nearly as bitter as most of the porters that I've tried. What else are you tasting? What do you?
Same thing. I was tasting a little bitter at the end of it, but yeah, now that I've really tasted it, I do taste the coffee.
Yeah.
And a cocoa.
The coffee and the cocoa flavor lingers in the mouth after you swallow it. I'm not really finding much vanilla flavor in it.
Don't taste any.
Not like I would have expected by the name. Has a good mouthfeel. And that roast coffee with the hint of cocoa really lingers on the back of your tongue. It's smooth. It's definitely drinkable. You know, it's quite good. You know, certainly wouldn't be my number one favorite beer, but it's another one of those. If somebody handed me one at a Christmas party or something, I would certainly drink it.
Me too. It's not bad at all.
You have any other comments about this one?
No, it's a dark beer. It's a good one, and it's smooth. I like that part of it.
Yeah, I've always been partial to darker beers, and this one is not bad at all. Trying to find the vanilla in it,
I couldn't.
and I can't. I got roasty, toasty, cocoa coffee flavor, and almost no bitterness.
Right there at
Just
the
a
end.
tiny bit of bitterness right at the very end.
It's a good beer.
And the flavor really lingers in your mouth. I gotta give this one a thumbs up.
I will too.
Another good seasonal beer for around Christmas time, here in the winter time.
Yeah.
Definitely a good one for the winter time. Well, we'll go and cleanse our palates again, and we'll be back for number 3. Welcome back. We've cleansed our palates and we're ready for beer number 3 in our Christmas special. But before I get to that, I wanted to give you a little update on a surprising thing that happened with beer number 2, the Leinenkugel Vanilla Porter. After we cut the camera, with the beer sat around in the glasses for about 10 minutes before we got around to finishing them. And while it sat in the glasses those 10 minutes, it completely changed its character, and it changed it for the better. What happened was, it seemed as though the coffee flavor got weaker and the cocoa flavor got stronger, and the bitterness at the end pretty much went away. So it became actually a smoother, even more drinkable beer than it was at the start. More flavorful. So that's something you might want to consider if you try this beer, is you might want to let it sit for a few minutes in the glass before you drink it, so that you get the full effect of it. So just wanted to update you on that one. Now we'll go on to the next beer, and this one is the Southern Tier 2 Xmas Seasonal. This is an ale. It says that it's brewed in the tradition of a Swedish glögg, whatever that is. This is brewed by the Southern Tier Brewing Company in New York. Now it says that it's an ale brewed with figs, orange peels, and spices, 2 varieties of hops, and 4 types of malts. So I expect this to be, I would expect it to be a very complex tasting beer, but we will find out. It's also 8% alcohol by volume. The color, well, first of all, the head is about 1 finger, and it's a light tan, and it seems to be hanging in there. The color is a medium brown, okay, with, let's see if I can do this where you can see it better. It doesn't seem to have vigorous carbonation. There again, a few of the bubbles coming up from the bottom, but they're coming up quite slow. So it's not an aggressive carbonation. I believe that there's a slight reddish orange tint to the color, which I assume is from the orange peels. And we will try it out now. Okay.
Alright.
Let's take a sniff.
Smell test.
I smell the orange
I
peel.
do too, right off the bat.
That's the first thing. I smell the orange peel. I smell the spice.
Yeah.
The spice and the orange peel together, to me, smells like a spiced cider would smell.
Yeah.
Can't tell just what the spice is. It's not cinnamon. It's not exactly ginger. Let's take a taste. Has a sweetness right off the bat. I can taste the orange peel. And it tastes like orange peel. It doesn't taste like orange fruit, like the actual orange fruit. It tastes kind of like the peel would taste. It has a definite bitterness to it. which may be from the hops. I'm not sure if it's the hops or the orange peel, or a combination of the two is giving it that bitterness. But the bitterness follows the sweetness almost immediately.
Yeah, it does. I taste ginger. Along with the
Yeah, I
orange.
think that, yeah.
Yeah, it
I
is
think
good.
you're right, there's definitely some ginger in there. And definitely got hops bitterness.
Yeah.
And the bitterness really lingers. That after you get past the sweetness and the orange flavor, you're left with the bitterness lingering in your mouth. At least in my mouth.
Mine too. It's not a bad tasting beer.
It's not bad, but it's not going to be one of my favorites. I'm not big on a lot of bitterness in my beer. I prefer a little more sweetness, ratio of a little more sweetness to the bitterness. I want to have a little bit of bitterness usually at the end, but I prefer a little more sweetness, a little more malt flavor than I do hops bitterness. But that's me, my personal taste. What about you?
I like this one just the way it is. The bitterness is just right there at the end, and it gives it a good flavor.
You definitely get the orange peel and the sweetness right on the front end, before anything else. Then the spices, and then that bitterness kicks in.
Right at the end.
And it's smooth, and it is very, very lightly carbonated. Hardly
Any at all.
hardly any carbonation at all. It doesn't have the strong carbonation tingle that you get with some of the other beers. It's enough carbonation, but it's very, very light. So, overall, as a seasonal beer, I give this one a thumbs up.
I also.
As an everyday beer, I would not, but as a seasonal beer, once in a while for something different, I'll give it a thumbs up. So that's 2 thumbs up for this one as a seasonal beer.
Yeah.
So, we're going to go cleanse our palates once again, and we will be back for the grand finale of our Christmas special. It will be the beer number 4. We'll see you then. Well, we're back for number 4. Last but not least, we have the Samuel Adams Merrymaker Gingerbread Stout. And this is a big one. According to my notes here, it describes the Merrymaker as rich, dark gingerbread stout, entices with the aromas of the holidays. The flavor of gingerbread comes alive, beginning with the smooth sweetness and heartiness of dark roasted malts, and a touch of wheat. But it's the intensity and spices of cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, and ginger that add a wicked kick for a jolly, playful brew full of merry mischief. And the alcohol by volume is 9%. So it's a pretty stout. And I'm going to be interested to see if it does in fact taste like gingerbread, because I can't say that I've ever had a beer that tasted of gingerbread. Not sure how that flavor combination is going to be, but we're going to find out here in a minute. Let's see. Oh yes, definitely dark. Oh, look at that head. For some reason this time I got more head than John did. Now, as you can see, this thing is about as dark as sin, and it has a really dark tan to medium brown head, and that is one thick head. I mean, that is what, 5 fingers, a whole hand full of head there. And I don't think you can't even see the flashlight through this thing. That is dark. That is dark to the point of being black. That's about as dark a brown as you can get without being black. So this should be an interesting beer. John, my faithful elf.
All right, let's try this one.
Let's see what it smells like here. Excuse me. That had nothing to do with the beer. I definitely smell the gingerbread.
I do too.
I mean, it smells like a gingerbread
I
man.
smell the nutmeg.
Yes, definitely. But that's about all I can smell through that thick head. That is, I think that's the thickest head that we've had yet.
It is. It's
On
wicked.
any of them. I mean, look at that. It doesn't even move.
Hardly.
Well, let's take a taste. Oh yeah,
It's strong.
it's strong. Yes, it is. A sweet, definite gingerbread flavor right there at the beginning. Only a light to medium carbonation. It definitely has full body, a definite mouthfeel.
This one is strong.
It's strong, but not overwhelming.
Well, I might have to disagree.
Oh, it's okay.
This
You're
one's-
allowed.
This one's a little too strong for me. It's supposed to be.
I definitely taste the gingerbread.
I did.
It's a little sweet on the front end with the gingerbread flavor, and follows through with the spices toward the back end.
Mm-hmm.
And it never gets bitter like you'd expect of something this dark.
Yeah.
It's just a very light bitterness at the end, but it stays mostly sweet and spicy throughout the whole mouthful. This is going to be a hard one to grade, because I also am not that fond of a beer that's too strong. But this one isn't quite to the level of strength that I would not like, but it's certainly not one that I would want to drink much of. But knowing what it is and what it's supposed to be, it's pretty good. Like I said, knowing that it's supposed to be a really strong stout.
Yeah.
And then I don't have a big problem with it. So I'll taste it a little more.
All right.
Yeah, there's enough sweetness, roasty maltness to it that it fairly well balances out the strength of it. So I'll give this one thumbs up. I think I already know how you're going to
Thumbs
vote.
down.
So this one gets a solid 1 thumb. Or maybe it gets a 0 because maybe the thumb down and the thumb up cancel each other out. So you make the decision. We report, you decide. I've heard that somewhere before. Well. All right, this has been our Christmas special beer review number 10. I hope you enjoyed it. And I just want to say that I hope that you and yours all have a very merry and blessed Christmas, and that you have a terrific New Year. And I guess the next time I see you, it'll be 2015. So until then, this is Santa Spec Ops 15 and his faithful elf companion, John, saying, see you next year. Okay.
All right.
I had a feeling you weren't going to like it.
No. That's
We're gonna have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny fucking Kaye.